Hey, welcome back. It's been around 2 weeks since we came from Thailand. That event, the TITC, which was very high level, very intense, and I saw a lot of prototype cars like the one from Kyosho, Red Mugen, the Tamiya 421, Blue Mugen, the what's that? Yokomo, Black Mugen. I kid. But more interesting was the Ryan Maker, RC Maker SP1. So he was kind enough to talk with my daughter and show us in his car in detail. It's a prototype, but looking good. It's kind of different, and the main selling point is low CG. But the one that I really found in terms of best engineering for me was the Iris. So in pictures, I was not impressed, but when I saw it in person and then talked to Jason Statham, aka Andreas Myberg, well, he talked a lot about his blue eyes and how it attracts the ladies, but the car was very attractive in person. It was very light, low CG. The parts quality was very high. So, yeah, that was interesting. I like his car. His design was very unique. The rest are the same. Um, so then, what am I doing here with this TT01? Well, I want to make my own, kind of my own car. We're using the Axon TC as the base, so that we'll use that next year. It's a good car, stable, fast. But I want to try to make something that might be better than that. And why this? Why this? Well, let me give you some reasons. One is, I think, weight balance, to centralize the weight here, centralize it and make it very low is important. So this tub chassis is 140 grams but very low, and you can put weights. I have the flexibility to put weights even low here and even low here along the slots, and I can really fine-tune the weight balance very low and move it move it little here or here to balance the car well. That's number one. Number two, the tub chassis has no tweak. It's flat, the TT01, so I like it. I don't have to fiddle with upper decks, and without an upper deck, the CG is lower. Three, it has correct flex by itself, so when I try to twist it, it feels similar to my Axon already. So those are the three things why I want to start with this base tub chassis. Yeah, those are it. There's another one. The motor and the battery distance are very close, so they're closer together. And I think that could be an advantage in terms of, going through chicanes faster. Fifth, the differentials are using very big pitch gears, so it should handle modified motors easily. Even here, the spur gear, I modified the 61 tooth spur gear, made some holes, cut out the excess material, and used a TT02 spur gear adapter. Put some shimming, took a lot of time shimming it, and I got it to a state where it's good. This is 0.6 module, so we had problems with pinion stripping, spur gear stripping, which resulted in 3 DNFs for my daughter with the Axon. So my idea now is to make sure the car is not only fast but robust, durable. And I doubt these spur gears will strip. And these will never strip, even with modified. Versus a belt that can strip easily, and those 64 pitch spur and pinion that the TC uses. All right, so that's my thinking right now. The durability of this car, low CG, no tweak, good flex. So everything seems correct at the moment. And I'm right now building the transmission to make sure it can take the 4.5 turn boosted with no issues. The issue normally is the center drive line will wobble at high speed. So now with the center bearing, there is no wobble. It should be very good. All right, straight, super straight. All right. Yeah, so that's I'm kind of done with the transmission. It feels smooth. And yeah, so this is the part 1 of my new car build for modified racing. I know you might say, TT01, come on, Joel, but no. Even this shaft, carbon fiber, it's also lower by 2 mm compared to a TT02. So this is really good. I think you've seen prior videos where, you know, in a small track, this car has won against Yokomo and Mugens. So it is capable because I also did a low CG mode on the shocks. This is where the shock mounts on the bulkhead. It's very low. All right, I am using 45 mm shocks. And of course, I will probably spend a lot of time designing, 3D printing my own arms, make it longer, make it lighter. Yeah, I will spend a lot of time doing the arms and suspension to make it very competitive. But the base itself, I like it. Everything, all that the check boxes are ticked for me in terms of designing a car. And rather than design something from scratch on my own, you know, I found something that already is here, but just needs a lot of, you know, details, attention to details on how to build it, like the shaft, make it straight, and so on, low CG. Horizontal body post. All right, so nothing. I'm excited. There's another bonus of this stub chassis that I like. Here on the side is very flat. So using the ultralight bodies, they kind of flap around and you need the body support. Here I can put some side foams to support the body with a lower CG. And at the same time provide a nice airflow underneath that would probably help with some stability and some downforce. Right, you can see the idea, right? Put some foam here, take up the slack between the body and the chassis. Yeah. So it's there's a lot of positives. What are the negatives? Maybe in the high heat, the plastic might be too soft. I don't know yet. But you know, when it's softer, it just means it's more forgiving, right? In a track. So I'll know when I go to Thailand again, but I'll do a lot of testing here. And yeah, so shaft drive. They say there's torque steer. I'm going to test it. I've never felt the torque steer in a TT01, even with a 4.5. But maybe there is when it's a bigger track, more power. I'll test it, but I'm still kind of optimistic because 1.8 nitro buggies use shaft drives, 4-wheel drive buggies off-road use shaft drives, speed run cars use shaft drives, and they all kind of seem to do track straight, right? Especially the speed run cars, although they probably do a rolling start, you know, but you know, if they can go 200 miles per hour, the shaft should not be an issue if you do it correctly. Make it align very straight, have some good support. So it's just a bearing with double-sided tape, and that's it. It takes up make sure there's no vibration. very straight. Without this, the shaft is wobbling. So this simple thing makes a lot of difference. So it's gonna be like that for the car. All these small things add up to make it perform so much better. Yeah, so that's it. I had nothing to do today except make a... While I'm building, I might as well document what I'm trying to do because I forget. And hopefully I don't lose motivation, you know. I want to keep going forward. So the next video I'll probably do a test of the... I put the motor in, put it on scales, and see if there's really a torque steer effect, you know, with using the scales. Alright, yeah. Still into RC cars. TT01, kinda cheap, but it's gonna be expensive once I start doing the arms. or not, you know, maybe a local 3D printer can do it for cheap. I basically want to do the same arms, but make it maybe 4 mm longer each side and use thinner hex to get the 188 mm width that normal TCs run. Yeah. Now later on, if these are not good enough, the gear diffs, these are TT02 because it's lighter than the TT01. It's around 26 grams, I think. The TT01 is 38 grams, so that's a big difference. In mods, sometimes I think they like heavier rotational weight here. It's easier to drive, keeps the corner speed, so it might not be a disadvantage to have a 26 gram diff when some of the touring car drivers are putting like 5 gram weights here in their touring cars to make it drive better. So yeah, perfect. Just use a heavier diff. But then I plan to probably buy the oil-filled diffs and put a spool, and that might be my final configuration later on. But as much as possible, I'll test first the drivetrain with the stock suspension, except with the lower spring setup, and see how that goes. But so far, you know, the TT01 has not disappointed my daughter. The races she's joined with this in mod, she's won. So it's pretty quick because of all the positives that I mentioned, right? It's flat. There's no tweak in this chassis, you know. No need to bother with tweak screws. It's just set and forget and run. The idea is also have minimal variables to try and test because you can get lost and lose a lot of time. Just basic settings should be good to try to get it in the ballpark. Hopefully it works. Shaft drive in mod. Yeah, I know. I know, but yeah, sometimes you got to go, you know, out of the box. You know, they've tried it before. I understand they've tried shaft drive, but I'm hard-headed. I want to convince myself that it doesn't work, and so far I have not tried it. I have tried it and it has won, so I want to keep trying. And you know, I kind of have an idea of what the design principles are after competing at those high levels, seeing their cars, and I can incorporate it easily into this shaft drive. And I don't have to worry about belts breaking, spur gear stripping. So this should be able to handle the modified power. No need to worry. Yeah, so should jump, brake hard, power out harder. Yeah, in my imagination, but I'm happy. Low CG, right? Very low. All right. See you. More videos to come, but yeah. I'm not good at driving anymore. I was only C main in the Porsche Cup in Thailand, so I'm gonna focus on being a mechanic, making a car, and supporting my daughter rather than, yeah, she had 3 DNFs probably because I was also sidetracked with the Porsche Cup. I could not dedicate enough time to 100% on the car. I got distracted. this time, no distraction. I'm gonna give her cars and mechanic it, and best of luck. Cheers, cheers.